We're going to talk about mental or inner restlessness and its relationship to ADHD. Now, a little bit of background for you. Restlessness is defined as that quality of being unwilling or unable to stay still or to be quiet and calm. It perhaps arises because someone is worried or bored. Side effects can include excessive and task-irrelevant movements, impatience, as well as irritability. So all of that comes from various dictionaries. As you can see, this definition suggests that it might be associated not only with ADHD, out of boredom perhaps, but also with anxiety and other disorders linked to worrying. Let's move on, however. When this symptom is mental in form, it is often associated with an unrest of the mind. And as many patients have described that have adult ADHD, it involves difficulties with stopping one's thinking, including when trying to fall asleep. Having too many thoughts coming to you all at once, kind of a problem with disinhibition there, and thoughts that are off task. They're not really relevant to what the individual is trying to do, and as a result, they can be very distracting. As you will see in a moment, this suggests that this symptom of mental or inner restlessness might be associated with mind wandering as well. Now, in the history of ADHD, this symptom was first described back in 1798 in the medical textbook written by Alexander Crichton, a Scottish physician. And in this chapter, he was describing disorders of attention, one of which resembles ADHD in adults. But he was the first one to talk about this kind of mental restlessness in individuals. Often, this symptom in children is one that is not widely discussed because it's probably not there. By that I mean that the symptom is an outward motor restlessness, hyperactivity, and even excessive talking, which is hyperactivity of speech, all of which is apparent. But we don't hear parents and children complaining about an inner or mental restlessness in a child with ADHD. And I'll explain why that might be the case in a moment, because the inner life of a child is not quite so rich as that by adulthood. Nevertheless, it is associated, even in children, that is this outward restlessness, with impatience and irritability. Yet the inner version of restlessness seems to be a classic symptom of adult ADHD. So why is it that in children it's overt, physical hyperactivity and excessive speech, while by adulthood it becomes more covert, private, inner, or mental in nature? We're going to talk about why that might be the case shortly. But it appears that mental restlessness, like physical restlessness and hyperactivity in children, is probably more closely related to the inhibitory symptom dimension of ADHD than it is to the inattention dimension, although eventually it will be so related because of that issue of mental distractibility that is likely associated with this inner restlessness.